A very good evening and welcome to the news at 6 here on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi and in the next 30 minutes I'll be taking you through the day's top developing stories. Let's start with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi invites investors in the UAE to invest $1 trillion in India, slams previous regime for delay in opening up the country as investment hub. Opposition criticizes his remarks. Dubai gears up for a grand reception for the Prime Minister. Modi to address the Indian diaspora before returning home after his two-day visit. Protests over the one rank, one pension intensify. 10 former defense chiefs are writing to Modi expressing dismay over delay in implementation of the scheme. The monsoon deficit widens by 10% in August, raising concerns for poor crop and inflation. Bihar faces drought-like situation with 32% deficiency this season. And Sri Lanka votes for a new government. Former President Rajapaksa locked in a tough contest with incumbent Prime Minister Wickremesinghe. Top story on day 2 of his trip to the UAE, Prime Minister Modi urged top businesses to invest in India. He promised them immediate investment opportunities worth $1 trillion. He also held talks with the Crown Prince on security and trade. Here are more details.
On the second day of his visit to the Gulf country, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed an investors' meet in Masdar city on Monday. He promised investments worth $1 trillion in India. He said the immediate priority of his government is to kickstart the things which were stalled during the earlier regime. The investors told the Prime Minister that they need steps like single window clearance and cited cumbersome and complex processes for doing business in India. Assured that these problems will be resolved.
$1 trillion की संभावना इमीडिएट पड़ी हुई और मैं चाहूंगा कि भारत के बहुत डायनेमिक प्रोग्रेसिव पॉलिसीज हैं, एक स्टेबल गवर्नमेंट है, डिसिसिव गवर्नमेंट है.
Modi said several sectors including railways, insurance and defense manufacturing in India have been opened up for foreign investment.
188 gigawatt, 100 solar energy, 75 wind energy and 13 renewable energy from the waste to wealth. मैं समझता हूँ एक बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी है. हम सोलर एनर्जी इक्विपमेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग भी वहाँ चाहते हैं, हम सोलर एनर्जी इंस्टॉलमेंट भी चाहते हैं, हम पावर जनरेशन की दिशा में जाना चाहते हैं.
Later, he also met UAE's Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan in Abu Dhabi. According to officials, the talks included in-depth discussion on how cooperation could be increased in meeting the common challenge of terrorism. They also explored possible way to increase commercial ties as part of comprehensive strategic partnership.
It was a very, very focused interaction both last night and today, which I think will provide a fresh impetus to trade and investment relations between India and the UAE.
Earlier, Modi undertook a tour of Masdar city, a hub of clean technology. Modi also travelled briefly on the personal rapid transit car, a driverless vehicle which runs from point to point on magnetic strips. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
But back home, the Congress today hit out at Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his barb on foreign soil that he inherited lethargy from previous governments. The party said that it was not proper for the Prime Minister to rake up domestic politics abroad, despite repeated uproar by the opposition for similar statements. Modi had earlier attacked the Congress and its previous governments during his trips to China and Canada as well.
कि हिंदुस्तान का क्या हालत पिछले वर्षों से रहा, क्या ये चीज़ दूसरे के मुल्क में जाके बताने की चीज़ें हैं? मुद्दों को लोगों के मन से हटाने के लिए ऐसे अगर बयान देंगे देश के बाहर तो आप सबको और हम भारतीयों को लगेगा कि जो अपना ही घर नीचे दिखाता है, इससे खराब चीज एक प्रधानमंत्री के लिए देश के लिए क्या हो सकती है?
Modi ji has said is once again a confirmation that the Prime Minister is is afflicted with a mindset which is not very healthy.
And in an attempt to further connect with the Indian diaspora abroad, though, Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to make an address at the Dubai Cricket Stadium tonight before returning home. The Indian consulate has planned a cultural show to welcome Modi during the reception. Indian Consul General Anurag Bhushan said that the members of the community has made special efforts to make the event a memorable one, which is expected to draw a crowd of over 50,000 people. Huge television screens have also been installed outside the stadium. Modi's address to the community would be made available in Malayalam and Telugu on the FM channel. A website has also been set up for the occasion. On Sunday, Modi had reached out to Indian workers in the UAE to know their problems and discussed ways on how the Indian government could help them.
I'm just coming back from Dubai Cricket Stadium, and I think they have done a very fantastic job. We have got almost 70,000 registrations confirmed, so we are expecting over 50-60,000 people to turn up in the venue. Dubai has become an important platform for Indians to look at other markets in neighboring countries as well as in Africa. Not only that, this is also a great cultural hub.
In other news now, the agitation demanding the implementation of the one rank, one pension scheme reached a new level as 2 of the protesting ex-servicemen began a fast unto death today. Meanwhile, 10 former defence chiefs have written to the Prime Minister now expressing concern at the delay in implementation of the long pending scheme.
Stepping up agitation on the issue of one rank, one pension, 2 of the protesting ex-servicemen at Jantar Mantar launched a fast unto death on Sunday, demanding early implementation of the long pending scheme.
रक्षा मंत्री को बोलिएगा, आप हमें रिटर्न में जो हमारे जनसतवीर ने जो प्रॉपर लेटर्स दे रखे हैं उन पे साइन करवा के जनसतवीर पहले उसको कंफर्म करेंगे हमारे को, उसी के बाद में चाहे 10 दिन हो चाहे 12 दिन हो, जब तक हम इंडेफिनिट स्ट्राइक पे बैठे रहेंगे, हिलेंगे नहीं।
होना चाहिए, सर होगा। हम 60 तो पहले हम 24 घंटे के लिए बैठ रहे हैं, अभी 16 तारीख से हम पक्के बैठ गए हैं, लेकिन होना चाहिए, होगा।
So far, the protesters had been on a relay hunger strike. Meanwhile, 10 former defence chiefs have written an open letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Among them are 7 former army chiefs, 2 former chiefs of the air staff and 1 former navy chief. In their letter, they say that even though they have full faith in the political leadership, but their inability to clinch the issue has left them dismayed. The letter further states, "We stand steadfastly by the side of our colleagues and fully support their just cause. Our silence so far was due to the need to observe propriety. Any further delays, in our considered view, will be at the cost of damaging the pride of the veterans and lowering the morale of the armed forces. The nation can ill afford such an imbroglio."
We are very upset with the high-handed dealing of our veterans by the police on 14th of August. Dignity of the veterans is at stake, and also the morale of the armed forces is at stake.
CPM leaders also lent their support to the agitating ex-servicemen.
I really feel extremely ashamed that today the government has taken such an adamant attitude that not even a single representative of government has come here to meet them, because clearly they don't have a date.
The BJP, however, has reiterated its support for the issue.
Efforts are being made in this direction to find a solution to something that hasn't been done for decades. The Honorable Prime Minister himself has assured the nation about this. It's unfortunate that some political parties are trying to politicize something when they haven't done any work on it.
The assurances apart, little forward movement has happened on OROP. Even though the Prime Minister was expected to make an announcement in this regard in his Independence Day speech, no specific time frame came. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And on to another concern. India's monsoon rainfall deficit has widened to 10%. The Met Office said that a strengthening El Niño weather pattern is having an effect on the rainfall, raising fears of a drought. In fact, Bihar is staring at the drought-like situation with 32% deficient monsoon this season. Here are more details.
Below par rainfall across India for more than 2 weeks has pushed the monsoon deficit to 10% below normal. Average all-India rainfall was 5% below normal at the beginning of August, but had doubled by Independence Day due to rains remaining consistently below average during the fortnight. August so far has seen 17% below normal rain. The rainfall is likely to remain subdued even this week over most parts of the country, raising concerns over output from summer-sown crops such as cotton, oilseeds, paddy and pulses. This could trigger inflation again. Of Bihar's 38 districts, 30 have received deficit rainfall by up to 32%. This is a worrying situation for a state that is largely dependent on rain for its irrigation needs. The Bihar government has announced diesel subsidy to farmers to operate their hand pumps, and the electricity department has been instructed to provide 12 hours of supply to rural areas. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar expressed concerns over the situation during his speech on the Independence Day.
भयावह स्थिति, मॉनसून का जो ट्रफ है वो दक्षिण की ओर खिसक गया है। दक्षिण की ओर खिसकने के कारण वर्षा कम हो रही है और यह बहुत ही परेशानी का विषय है। यही स्थिति जारी रही अगले 7 दिन तक, 10 दिन तक, तो उस स्थिति के बाद हम बिहार में सूखे की स्थिति का ऐलान करेंगे और सूखाग्रस्त इलाके को चिन्हित करके हम उन्हें सूखाग्रस्त क्षेत्र घोषित भी करेंगे।
During 2014-15, delayed rainfall in monsoon season affected kharif production, while untimely rains in February and March 2015 impacted rabi production. Overall, food grain production declined to 251.12 million tons in 2014-15 from a record level of 265.04 million tons in 2013-14. Wheat production, estimated at 90.78 million tons, was lower by 5.07 million tons achieved during 2013-14. Pulses, estimated at 17.38 million tons, is lower by 1.87 million tons. All eyes are now on the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, which is expected to overcome the adverse effects of a deficit monsoon and unseasonal rains of February to March this year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, for more on this story, we're joined in studio this evening by Mr. M.J. Khan, editor of Agriculture Today. Thank you, Mr. Khan, for joining us. A very good evening to you. Are we actually staring at a drought for the first time in 6 years?
Not really, because picture is not as gloomy, because last 24 hours there has been good rains in eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. In any case, the middle of August, little delay in rains is not going to harm that much the crop production. But overall, if we look at the agriculture sector, this year we are down by almost 12 million tons of food grains, having achieved 265 million tons last year. I think that is the real cause. So more important is that Maharashtra, many parts of the Maharashtra are, showing up some drought-like situation. Bihar, in any case, largely the paddy cultivation that can withstand this kind of situation for a little more time. But government need to prepare for a long-term solutions to the problem, which will continue occurring year after year, because the climate change and its implications for farm sector is now very, very evident. Therefore, I would like to bring to the attention of the policymakers the fact that the climate resilient agriculture, that has to be given real push. Now, under Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana, the effective use of water resources that are available by promoting large-scale micro-irrigation system, because in 2002, when Chandrababu Naidu committee was formed, bringing some 70 million hectares, almost half of the total land cultivated today, under micro-irrigation system. So, at that time, the estimate was about 75,000 crores of investment. I believe that this scheme of Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana works largely on the recommendation that Chandrababu Naidu committee had given that time, which means large-scale promotion of the drip irrigation system, which not only reduces the overall water requirement, but also improves the farm productivity and the quality of the produce. Also, the use of technology is very, very important in the farm sector, and the involvement of private sector, because what is happening is that the assessment of the drought and its timely action on that is missing. Now, delivery system has to be efficient. Now, government system, in the name of delivery, it is very, very lethargic. Therefore, today the private sector is present all over. The personnel of seed companies, pesticide companies, fertilizer companies, farm machinery and so on. If they are involved in such situations and the involvement of use of technology where the assessment and determination of the loss is on a real-time basis. And then these personnel can be made use of or involved in delivery of the relief material.
All right. These are, of course, the long-term plans, really, Mr. Khan. But in the near future, what is it that we should be looking forward to? Because during his Independence Day speech, the Prime Minister did mention about the lack of rainfall, but the fact that it did not influence the inflation figures. But the July to September rainfall figures are what are going to be crucial, isn't it?
I believe last 48 hours there has been good rains in eastern UP and Bihar. I do not know very specifically which are the districts remain uncovered by the rains in the last 24 hours. But immediate work is required on adopting and preparing the climate smart villages. And of course the varietal change that is required very much, the cropping pattern change, because more climate resilient farming system has to be promoted, and the seed varieties and so on. Now, in districts which are going to be affected, as I listened to Mr. Nitish Kumar making a statement that the monsoon has shifted towards south side, therefore I believe the northern parts of Bihar may be affected. So I think exact estimation, let the state government come up with the recommendations in the next few days' time, if at all the drought-like situation prolongs, as to how much area is affected, which are the crops which are affected, then the contingency measure can be immediately worked upon and implemented. In any case, I understand the Ministry of Agriculture had done homework very well in the month of June when the more gloomy picture was being
estimated,
given.
Yes. All right, we'll leave it there for now. Mr. Khan, thanks so much for joining us. What you're saying is, of course, we need to be looking at the long-term management really of it, because rainfall is something we cannot control. But thanks so much for joining us on this story. With that, we'll take a very quick break here on the news at 6. But coming up next, it's the 9th consecutive day of ceasefire violation by Pakistan, despite India lodging strong protests.
Prime Minister Modi in UAE, the first Indian PM visiting that country in 34 years. Just how significant is this visit? And what is the outcome? Watch the big picture at 6:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Now, Pakistan resorted to ceasefire violations along the line of control overnight for the 9th consecutive day. Pakistani troops targeted civilian areas and forward posts in Poonch district, drawing retaliation from the Indian Army. However, there were no casualties in the fresh violations. This comes, of course, a day after India lodged a strong protest with the Pakistani envoy on Sunday.
Yet another day of ceasefire violations along the line of control. Pak Army used heavy mortars to target Indian outposts as well as nearby villages in Poonch district. Intermittent firing also took place in Rajouri's Manja Court. Indian troops retaliated to the unprovoked firing that started at 10 p.m. last night and lasted till 1 a.m. Villagers in the border areas of Jammu and Kashmir are in a state of fear. Since Saturday, 6 people have been killed and 20 others injured in shelling and firing.
मैं लोगों से यही इल्तिजा करता हूं कि आप मेहरबानी करके अपने घरों में ही रहो और कोशिश करो जो भी आपका जो लोअर स्टोरी है, जहां भी सेफर प्लेस है वहीं बैठो, क्योंकि इस वक्त रुक रुक के फायर हो रहा है और खतरनाक फायर हो रहा है, खतरनाक शेलिंग हो रही है। इस वक्त मास इवैक्यूएशन की कोई गुंजाइश ही नहीं है।
बहुत ज़्यादा दहशत का बना हुआ यहाँ हर एक इंसान के अंदर है। और मेरा एक भांजा जो मर गया है, सरपंच मर गया है, इधर नीचे गोले से मरे, तो बहुत ज़्यादा इधर परेशानी है।
India had summoned Pakistani High Commissioner Abdul Basit to lodge a strong protest on Sunday. The developments comes ahead of National Security Advisor level talks that are to be held in Delhi on 23rd of August.
India has been giving a befitting reply whenever the opportunity arises. With regard to the talks, that is something Government of India will decide. But whatever it will be only in the interest of the country that Prime Minister Modi's government will take a decision.
Despite good wishes exchanged between our two countries, Pakistan army has been violating the ceasefire agreement, not honoring the line of control, resorting to several provocative actions now and then.
All that we want is that terror should stop. And therefore, after what happened in Gurdaspur, what happened in Udhampur, and the continuous firing across the line of control, as well as the international border, makes out a very strong case for calling off the NSA-level talks.
Experts are also questioning the efficacy of reopening dialogue with Pakistan. National Security Advisors of India and Pakistan, Ajit Doval and Sartaj Aziz, are scheduled to hold talks on terrorism-related issues for the first time on 23rd of August. Bureau Report, Rajya, Sabha TV.
With that, let's get you some quick updates from across the country and nationwide. The National Investigation Agency has been granted permission to conduct a lie detector test on the captured Pakistani terrorist Mohammad Naveed Yaqub. A Delhi court directed that Naveed will undergo polygraph test at 11 a.m. tomorrow at the CGO complex after he gives a consent. Naveed and another militant had attacked an army convoy along the Jammu-Srinagar highway that killed 2 BSF jawans. Former Jharkhand Chief Minister Madhu Koda has moved an application before a special court seeking summoning of former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh as an accused in a coal scam case. The court was hearing a case related to the allocation of a coal block in Jharkhand to Jindal Steel and Gagan Sponge. The court has fixed 28th of August for the next hearing. Polling was held today to elect 129 civic bodies in Rajasthan with about 37.12 lakh people eligible to cast their votes. Polling at 4,300 booths took place in 3,306 wards. Over 43,000 security personnel, including from the State Police, Home Guards and the Rajasthan Armed Constabulary, were deployed to ensure free and fair polls. The Apex Consumer Court has accepted the government's 640 crore rupee suit against Nestle for its alleged unfair trade practices pertaining to Maggi noodles. The next hearing has been posted for the 30th of September. A bench of the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, headed by Justice V.K. Jain, admitted the centre's plea, which accuses the company of false labelling and giving misleading advertisements. And now to some international news and breaking news that in fact is just coming in from Bangkok. An explosion has rocked a commercial centre in Thailand's capital, killing at least 5 people and injuring 20 others. These are the latest visuals that we're getting for you. There are conflicting reports of casualties. However, the BBC is putting the figure at 12. The country's national chief has confirmed that the blast was caused by a bomb. The explosion took place at an intersection near a tourist attraction. We'll be tracking all those developments on Rajya Sabha TV. You can join us in a few hours to get more details of what eventually the police and authorities there are saying. But at the moment, what we do know is that 5 people are confirmed dead, 20 injured. But by the looks of it, definitely the death toll is expected to rise. This blast taking place at a commercial center in Thailand's capital, Bangkok. Taking place, as you can see, during the evening time, where, of course, there were lots of people gathered there. Conflicting reports on the number of casualties, but the BBC is putting the figure at 12. The country's national chief has confirmed that the blast was indeed caused by a bomb, but the nature of it is still being determined. Police and authorities, of course, still trying to determine the cause of that blast and, of course, who perhaps could be responsible. This taking place at an intersection near a tourist attraction. And staying with international news, crucial parliamentary elections were held in Sri Lanka today. Voters turned out in large numbers to seal the fate of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is eyeing a political comeback 8 months after being unseated in a shocking election loss.
Sri Lankans queued up in large numbers on Monday to elect a new parliament. Polling began as early as 7 a.m. and was reported to be steady to brisk with no incidents of violence. In capital city Colombo, long queues were witnessed soon after the polling process began.
Every vote counts, so I thought best is to vote early and make sure our choice of governance is reflected in the final results.
It's important because even one vote makes a difference.
Poll monitoring groups said voters in outer districts and northern Tamil regions also showed enthusiasm. The focus this time is on former strongman Mahinda Rajapakse, who is seeking a comeback 8 months after being unseated in a shocking election defeat. Contesting from his hometown, Hambantota, for the United People's Freedom Alliance, Rajapakse is eyeing a return to office as Prime Minister. Facing him is rival United National Party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is confident of his victory against Rajapakse.
I haven't got to worry anymore at all about Mahinda Rajapakse. First time we are having a peaceful election in Sri Lanka. It's not merely peaceful, but no longer have you got any pressure or any tensions in your mind as to what the outcome will be, and will there be violence, will it be respected.
The election to the 225-seat parliament is a close battle between the UNP and UPFA. However, analysts say the personal rivalry between current UPFA chief President Maithripala Sirisena and Mahinda Rajapakse, and Sirisena's unwillingness to name Rajapakse the premier, has left voters deeply divided. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And changing tracks, let's get you the latest from sports in Sports Beat. Shikhar Dhawan has been ruled out of India's last 2 tests against Sri Lanka after sustaining a hairline fracture in his hand. The left-handed opener played through some pain in India's second innings of the first test, which India lost by 63 runs. Dhawan top scored for the visitors in the first innings of the Galle test with 134. Golfer Anirban Lahiri scaled a new high by becoming the first Indian to finish inside the top 5 in one of the 4 majors. Lahiri finished 5th in the prestigious PGA Championships. He will return to the top 50 in the new rankings. Andy Murray ended an 8-match losing run against Novak Djokovic to win the Rogers Cup. Murray beat the world number 1 in straight sets for his 4th title of the year. This was Murray's first win over Djokovic since the 2013 Wimbledon final. He will now return to the world number 2 ranking in the world ranking. Manchester City stunned defending champions Chelsea with a convincing 3-0 victory in the English Premier League. City dominated the match throughout as goals by Sergio Aguero, Vincent Kompany and Ferdinandinho saw them defeat Chelsea. City has won their first 2 games, scoring a total of 6 goals. And that's all we have for you on the news at 6. But coming up next on Rajya Sabha TV, the big picture. Stay with us.